Welcome back to the PTSD Princess Podcast. I'm Jerica Rose, your host. I survived homelessness, sexual, and verbal abuse. I'm here to guide you through your healing, growth, and reclaiming your self-love. So let's dive in. Today, I have Jyoti with me, and I met her online. She is very nice. She has a wonderful spirit, and I want to introduce her to the world. She's kind-hearted, and this is also our first time, well, my first time, so she's my first interview, and this is going to be very interesting. So stay tuned, and we're going to get this started. So welcome, Jyoti. You want to do a little intro background about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi, my name's Jyoti. I am from California, born and raised, and I am an indie author. I just put my 15th book out on October 8th. Um, Other than that, I like to read and write.
Okay, nice. So you say you're from California?
Yes.
Okay, so are you there now?
Yeah, I'm born and raised in California.
Okay, so how's the weather been over there lately?
Hot,
Hot
really
still?
hot. Yeah, we're complaining because it's October. We were in the triple digits, like beginning of October. Now we're kind of in the 90s. It's getting to the 80s, and I'm like, well, about time.
Yeah.
So
So do you want to share with the audience, is there something to do, find out in California if they would rather go out there, like any places they want to visit?
honestly, I like going to the Monterey Bay Aquarium, or just Monterey in general. I love Monterey. It's a very quiet place, but it's very like a getaway place for people that don't like necessarily city life, but you're like a beach kind of person, or you're like a camping person, whatever you are. Monterey has so much for everyone.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Because I'm in California myself, so if I ever go to California, then I want to, what are the landmarks? What's exciting to do? So
I mean,
thank you
one
for.
of the landmarks is like the Hollywood sign, Golden Gate Bridge, but those are always like packed up. So I feel like if you do like 17-mile drive, or if you go to Caramel, which is right by Monterey, you're gonna have more of a better experience of California than you would with like, let's go to LA or let's go to San Francisco. But yeah.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
nice. Thank you for sharing.
Of
So,
course.
so what do you do now in this world? Like, what is your life like now?
I do editing for people. As an author who has put out so many books, I do editing of not just books, but I do like one of like I did a PhD dissertation editing. Um, so no matter what it is, the cost is $110, regardless of word count, regardless of if it's an essay, if it's a dissertation, a thesis, a book, it's $110.
Cool. So is
Yeah.
that like a business you have?
It's kind of what I started. It's not very successful. I've only had 2 people. But yeah.
that, look, no worries. Everybody starts somewhere because I
Right.
know you corporate job too. So
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Well, shout out to you for having a side business because a lot of women out here need to just get on their bossy mode and just, get on their shit.
Right.
So, any challenges you face, how you got through it, did you want to share, or something that you've accomplished?
Well, this is like PTSD podcast, right? So I think one of the things that I'm kind of working through right now was I kind of like had this experience on August 12th of 2024, where I was coming back from my yoga class, and this couple in their car started following me. It was so scary. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I see like your eyes just went wide, but it's crazy because you never know who's really dangerous nowadays, I guess, in that sense. Because you're like, oh, whatever, there's a female with him. Like, nah, girl, that female got bad intentions too. So, yeah.
Well,
Or even
that
if you
can.
just be like a female, I've heard like on TikTok, I believe it was. Yeah, TikTok, when it was a female Uber driver, but she started like explaining what the passenger looked like on the phone and stuff. So, like, this girl, like, opened the door, or how, I don't know what, but she like rolled out. And yeah. So, yeah.
Wow, that is crazy.
it was a very traumatic experience, very scary, but like at that time I was able to be calm like while it was happening. I kind of knew what to do. I was like, okay, like obviously I'm not going to go home, pull into a public space, whatever, and and that's kind of where I lost them. And I didn't even like even after I lost them, I didn't go home. I went to the police station, and that's when I broke down in front of the cop, and I was just telling them everything. I was like, this is where I lost them. And thankfully, like it was a public parking lot, and there's like a shopping center, so like so much security footage was involved in that.
Thank God.
Yeah,
Like, what be going on in people's right minds? Like,
yeah.
I don't understand, and I know you probably can finally take a deep breath from that.
I'm
Because
still in
that's
therapy. I actually have a session today. Today's Tuesday, so I have sessions on Tuesdays, and it's still something that I'm working through because I like can't have somebody go with me. Like now, I'm so scared to go out, like by myself, and I just don't think that's fair. And I had that question today. I mean, not today, but last night when I was like, am I ever gonna be able to forgive myself? Because every time I'm just like, why did I have to go to that class? Why? Like I could have stayed home. Like why was yoga so important that day? Like this and that. And that's like one thing I want to bring up with my therapist today is like, can I ever forgive myself? Which I know he's gonna be like, you know the answer to that. But I'm like, bro, we gotta work through this now.
yeah, yeah. Well,
So,
definitely talking about it as much as you can because that's something that you don't want to hold in
mhm.
and have flashbacks and PTSD nightmares and all that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
so I'm glad you really got through that because that's whew. I'm glad you're alive.
Right? I'm just happy that I'm like I like my mom had she was off of work because she was not feeling well. So I had to call her and be like, "Can you come to the police station?" No, I called my brother. I was like, "Can you come to the police station?" He's like, "What happened?" I was like, "Can you come?" It's a yes or no question. Like, can you please come get me, right? Because I'm way too scared to like, especially that night. I was like, I don't know like what these people's intentions were. I don't know if they were just happening to go the same way. Which like some people were like, oh, maybe they were just going the same way. I was like, if their intentions were to go the same way, they wouldn't switch lanes every time I did, and they would have not made the exact U-turn that I made.
Exactly. That's intentional. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know about you, but I wasn't really open to talking about therapy, but a lot of people were like, "Oh my gosh, that's such a huge step." So, on my end, I went to therapy because of it stemmed from like childhood trauma, like why I do the
Mhm.
things why do I think the way I think and why do I have backlash from things? So, do you want to tell the people why you got into therapy or how could it help someone?
Well, I started therapy in 2021. It was the day that President Biden was going to take office, and inauguration day, all the houses in our neighborhood that were people of color, all of them got like egged. They got rocks thrown out their window. They got like so much just from like these haters. So I still remember I was like, I need therapy because this is vandalization, but it's also racism, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. And it's like not even just ours, like every freaking house in the neighborhood, right? That belongs to a person of color. And
yeah,
then, so I did that. I was like, okay, cool. I went through it for a couple months, and then I graduated from therapy. And then I started teaching, and I taught in a place in California called Stockton, which is one of the most dangerous places in California. And I unfortunately we had 3 lockdowns, so I still taught. I ended up quitting after the third one because I was like, this is so bad for my mental health because not just the lockdown in itself, but I'm waking up at like 5 a.m. to start commuting by 6 to make it there on time, right? And
right.
like management wasn't good. And then lockdowns, commuting, mental health was just a mess at that time. So I was like, I'm out. Like, bye. And then I got a better position in 2022 while I was working in the district office, and I loved that position. It was closer to home, and I loved everything about that position. I loved the people. But I came home from and it was so nice because we had a 1 hour lunch break, so I could come home and just like unwind for an hour and then just go back if I felt like if I needed to change, if I needed to like eat, obviously like I could eat, I could save money on food and stuff like that. And that's when Uvalde happened. And then all the nightmares from the lockdowns came back. So in 2022, I started therapy again. And yeah. And then 2023, I don't know what exactly happened in 2000. Last year was just the worst year of my life. So, like, so much had happened that I just don't even remember why I started it or when I started. It was just the worst year of my life. And then, so I just kind of continued with them. And I'm still kind of like continuing, I guess, in that sense, because I was like, well, I feel like there's something that you can talk about every week, even though there was a point in like 2024 or yeah, when I was like, yeah, like we can go bi-weekly, I don't really need you. And then my therapist left the company, so I was kind of like I think for like 2 months without therapy, and then they kind of just reached out, and I was like, yeah, whatever, I'll do it. Yeah, I didn't need it. I was just like, whatever, sure, I'll continue. And then thankfully I had a therapist when everything happened, so it was easier to kind of talk to someone. Because if I didn't, I would have been just on that wait list all over again, and I'm like, nope, I'm not getting on that shit again.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. The waiting game. Nobody got time for that.
right.
All right. So, is there a tip you want to share with the audience? It could be like a life tip or any type of tip that you want to give to the people that they could walk away with.
Honestly, I would just say really trust your intuition, because that whole Monday, I just kept that the entire Monday, even before I went to my yoga class, I went to an agency to do some like paperwork and stuff. And that's going southbound. My yoga class is going northbound. The whole day I was like, somebody is following me. But it was like a whole different time, whole different everything. So it was just kind of crazy that my intuition kept saying like, warning, warning. So I would just say trust your gut. Because even when I went to the cops, I was like, listen, I had a gut feeling, so I did this. And I even told the female police officer, I was like, my intuition. She's like, how do you know? I was like, my intuition. That's your proof.
Most people
It's not
don't know
solid proof that I can give in court, but it was my intuition.
that intuition is strong when you really pay attention.
Right? It really is. And I'm like, I have no solid proof, but I have my intuition.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So that's definitely a good tip. I could use that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Hmm.
they got their solid proof because they were like, where did you end up going? And then I told them, and they're like, oh, security footage. And I was like, oh, yeah, we do have proof.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So back in their face.
Right.
So where can the people find you? Where can they follow you? And what else do you want to leave them with?
Well, you guys can like find out more about me, like my books and stuff are available on Amazon. And then my website is geetrights.carrd.co. So it's geetrights.carrd.co.
Nice. And what's the name of the book so they'll know?
Oh, there's like 15 different ones. So you're better off just going to the website and going from there. Because
All
it's
right.
hyperlinked in. Yeah.
Somebody gonna get her look, somebody get her book, okay?
Right.
But Jody, this is really nice. And we will definitely chat more. So thank you for your time.